And the Trump administration is ending New York's congestion pricing program weeks after the city put it into effect. Most cars entering the central business district of Manhattan are charged an extra $9 toll. The money is to go toward upgrading the subways and buses. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the toll is unfair, and he pulled the federal government's approval.
Our senior transportation correspondent Kris Van Cleave talked to Duffy today about congestion pricing and the string of air accidents over the past 3 weeks.
Is it safe to fly?
So the simple answer is yes, it's safe to fly, of course. Actually, I'm going to fly later today. I've been flying for the last week.
On his first full day as Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy faced the deadliest U.S. aviation accident in more than 20 years, the midair collision over Washington that killed 67 people. It was the first of several high-profile crashes that have stunned Americans, including this Delta flight that crash-landed in Toronto Monday. All 80 on board survived.
If you get in a plane, if you look at how many people fly, how many flights we have, of course it's a safe space.
And yet we've had these 5 real high-profile incidents in the last 3 weeks. It leaves people wondering, what is going on?
Each one is very unique, and I do think as we look at the incidents or the crashes, it gives us an opportunity to say, what went wrong? What can we improve upon in the system off these crashes?
Improving the nation's air traffic control system is now a priority for Duffy.
The systems that we use are so old. We should be the envy of the world, but that we have systems across our network that are run on floppy disks.
So how do you get that package of upgrades actually done and implemented?
If we're going to do this, I need the Congress to move fast with us. We can't wait 4 years, 6 years, 10 years. We have to do it right now.
He has enlisted the help of Elon Musk, owner of rocket and spacecraft builder SpaceX.
SpaceX has some of the brightest minds working for them. So I've asked some of his bright minds at SpaceX to come in and say, listen, what do you see are some simple, easy steps that we can take to upgrade our system?
How do you avoid the potential conflicts of interest with Elon Musk?
I don't want to see conflicts of interest. So he was talking to air traffic controllers, didn't plug into the system, but looked at the technology that they use, asked them, had a back and forth about what works well for you, what doesn't work well.
Democratic lawmakers are demanding answers over Duffy's decision to lay off hundreds of FAA employees in the midst of the recent accidents.
All the critical safety positions like air traffic controllers and inspectors, all of those positions have been protected. No one's been fired. Actually, we're hiring into those spaces. So 352 cuts is 0.8% of the workforce. Incredibly small.
Will there be future rounds of cuts?
There could be. I'm not sure at the FAA, but I think across government.
And Kris Van Cleave joins us now from Reagan National in Washington. As we mentioned, Kris, Secretary also talked about congestion pricing. What do you have to say about that?
Well, he felt it was unfair to working class commuters, in part because New York didn't offer them a way to get through the congestion zone that didn't have a toll attached to it. He also took issue with the toll associated, the price, the $9. He said New York's governor didn't do adequate research to justify the price of the toll. He said it seemed like they picked a number to pay for the projects they wanted, not necessarily something that would cut congestion.
Now, Kris, this matters for other areas too, right? I mean, New York was kind of a first of its kind. How does this decision affect other places that might have been considering congestion pricing?
You know, there's the adage, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. So congestion pricing was being watched closely by big cities with congestion issues to see what worked and what didn't. You know, the Department of Transportation has approval rights here because it involved tolling on federal roadways. So if this was going to be implemented elsewhere that involved a similar roadway, the DOT would have to approve. The secretary did say he was open to the concept of it, but just not the way New York executed it.
Kris Van Cleave at Reagan National Airport in Washington. Thank you, Kris.